I decided to test a frame from our local manufacturers. Guys from Warp, this is the Warp Rave frame. It's completely made in Russia. They design it themselves, test it themselves, and cut it from carbon themselves. In the community, it's considered a very high quality frame. A little something from the guys. Let's open the box and see what's inside. Actually, I've already opened it, but I only took out the stickers. This is a spare arm. I bought it additionally. I don't know why. I usually don't buy spare arms. The spacious and expansive top deck has the convenient option for crosswise battery placement, which is highly efficient and versatile. 3D printed. Mount for the O3 camera. For any other actually. It flew away properly. We don't need it. I printed my own components, including the bottom decks and the camera mount, to ensure they fit perfectly and function as intended. This customization allowed for a more tailored and efficient setup. A strap with the brand logo, stands, bolts, and the battery mount are essential components for setup. However, I won't be using the mount in my setup because I prefer to use a reliable method involving double-sided tape, which is commonly referred to as dual lock, to securely fasten the batteries in place. Let's take a look at the assembled frame. Here's what the frame looks like when it's assembled. As I mentioned, the socks are attached to the ends of the arms, but the arm itself locks in place and doesn't participate in securing the motors, so the motors are still attached to all 4 bolts in the carbon. The same idea, as I mentioned, applies to the third one. It doesn't rest entirely on the carbon, it sits on plastic. The third one has the same idea as I told you. So it doesn't rest entirely on the carbon, it sits on plastic. The antenna mounts are usually offered as short ones for full freestyle, but I prefer to extend the antennas a bit so I can fly in tougher conditions. The placement of the GPS module is my own design. I made it for myself. Normally, the GPS is suggested to be mounted on the side of the frame, and for myself, I also printed a cover for the wires on the arms. I use this on all my drones. It will be secured like this with zip ties. I absolutely use this on all of my various different drones. It will be secured like this with zip ties, not on self-adhesive tape but on zip ties. It will safely protect the motor wires from the propellers in case of a crash, and securely. The frame is stiff, really super stiff. In addition to the carbon stand, there's also a regular stand for reinforcement, with wire outputs and slots for the cross mounts of the battery. The idea is great, I really like it. Let's weigh the frame and see how much it weighs. Grams. Weight is good, weight is reliable. Let's continue the review of the Wraith frame from the company Warp. Test flight with 6S high pit using the KISS Ultra V2 flight controller. From the highly respected company Warp, 6S high pit, KISS Ultra V2, FaroukFPV Vroom 2505, Foxeer Reaper ESCs, default high pit filter, adaptive mode. The motors are FaroukFPV Vroom 2505 2000 kV with Foxeer Reaper 65 amp ESCs. I only kept the default settings for the high pit filter. Later on, I completely turned off the filters. I'm flying only on adaptive, as recommended by Alexander. It flies amazingly, so let's see how this one performs. Let's embark on an exhilarating journey through the vast skies, soaring high above the clouds, feeling the wind beneath our wings, and experiencing the unparalleled thrill and freedom of flight. The delightful and soothing sounds that accompany the experience of flying significantly enhance the overall enjoyment, making it a truly pleasurable and memorable journey through the skies. No rattling, which means there is no noise, but these are our typical and commonly used filters. There is no put. Even though it's really windy outside again, we have the Mark V, which is heavy on its own and doesn't fear the wind. No, there is still a small leak, but we will remove the filters as recommended by the frame manufacturer, and then we will see. Listen, it just flies amazing. This whole setup was on a Mark V frame, already set up. But the feel was completely different. It feels like it's just more rigid and responsive, as if I'm controlling it with my hands, rather than through the radio and the PID system. The sensations are really awesome. This is probably the best setup I've ever had. Although I've built a whole lot of drones, I love flying Tatooine bats, but they have one small drawback. Until you hit 0, you never realize that the battery has dropped. There's no feeling of sagging. All the spikes will stay in place until the very end. A few times I've actually crashed like that, just not making it back to the start. I got carried away, the battery ran out, and I couldn't make it home. Guys from Warp Rave, I don't know what kind of magic you created, but it's absolutely incredible and amazing. I truly like it. It's just crazy. I want to fly it more. I just want more. I want to do crazy stuff with it. You have a good slogan. We feel more confident with the Rave. Yes, we have. And to the viewers, I can only recommend, guys, don't be stingy, get the frame. Right now it costs about the same as those Mark V frames, the original Apex or, I don't know, Foxeer frames. They all cost about the same, but this one is way higher quality. It flies better, more reliably, sharper and more responsively. And yes, this is not an advertisement. I paid with my own hard-earned money for the frame and also waited patiently in line for quite some time, enduring the long wait, which was quite exhausting. The frame that I purchased is uniquely numbered, but it is not a limited edition, so I can only give it my personal recommendation based on my experience and satisfaction with the product. I haven't had this much fun with a drone in a long time. Guys from VR, thank you. And thank you viewers for watching. Happy flying!